Welcome to the north side of Chicago. It is another cool evening, but the Cubs fans on their way into Wrigley, home of the Cubs, as the Buccos take on the Cubs in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Hi again, everybody. Along with Bob Walk, I'm Tim Neverett. Robbie Ince-Mikowski joins us shortly. The Pirates, just for the second time this year, will face a left-handed pitcher, and it's the same guy they've already faced, Travis Wood of the Cubs, going against Jeff Locke in a battle of lefties.
Well, this is going to be an interesting matchup. Both these guys are off to a pretty good start this year, winning games for their clubs. In fact, if you look at their numbers, they're almost identical. Look at those ERAs. They're about the same. They're not really walking a lot of people, and that's really important to Locke, the command. He really needs that, thrives off that. The one difference that used to be between these two guys is Wood. He's one of the better hitters in the league. But now Locke, he went to hitting camp this winter. He's hitting too, so not much to pick between these two guys.
Yeah, they'll both be swinging it. They'll both be throwing it. One guy certainly who has been off to a great start this year is Anthony Rizzo. He is a tough out, not only for the Pirates, but for everybody else around baseball. 2 more RBIs in the Cub win last night. How do they get him out?
Well, you think of him as being a power-type guy. He's going to hurt you with the long ball, but he can also be a table setter. When they move him up in the lineup, he's hitting second in tonight's ball game. His on-base percentage, the best in the league. He gets on base half his at-bats.
So Rizzo, along with Chris Bryant and Addison Russell, leading these kid Cubs against the Pirates. Lineups and first pitch coming up from Wrigley. Lineup brought to you by Toyota. Josh Harrison leading off. Jordy Mercer and Andrew McCutchen. Corey Hart bats fourth, plays first. Starling Marte in the 5th spot. Neil Walker moves down as a right-handed batter tonight. He's got a 10-game hitting streak, hitting .359 with 5 doubles and 5 runs batted in during that stretch. So Wrigley Field in Chicago, night number 2 in this 3-game set. Josh Harrison leads off and takes the first pitch of the ball game high for ball 1.
You can see Travis Wood off to a good start. We talked about his numbers before. His MO as far as getting outs, he likes the ball in the air. There'd be a lot of flyouts. Does not get many grounders.
Jeff Locke, on the other hand, does. The ground ball's a safer one, don't you, Bob?
Oh, yeah, I totally believe that. But there have been a lot of really good, successful pitchers. They'll be fly ball guys. And Wood definitely one of those types. He's last couple of years, I think he's at the lowest ground ball percentage of anybody in the National League.
2-1's fouled back. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Harrison.
So there's more ways than one to skin a cat.
I've never seen a ground ball leave the ballpark, so I'd like to keep him on the ground. Sun setting off to the west. Wrigley Field. It's neat. We came in today and they run tours here on the afternoons, and just listening to what the tour guides say as we walk up the ramps here and what things used to be like here. 3-2 pitch. And Josh pops it up. This will make the seats.
A lot of changes here. They're starting really with that big scoreboard out in the outfield. They are going to be able to say the things they used to be about a lot in the outfield. So different. Sight lines. A lot of work yet to be done.
Full count to Josh. And he goes down swinging. 1 out in the top half of the first inning. Defensively for the Cubs, brought to you by Honda, Junior Lake will make the start in left field. And in the infield, Bryant, Castro, Russell, and Rizzo, with Wellington Castillo doing the catching tonight. Rizzo, a couple of more RBIs last night. He has been very tough. Chris Bryant also proving early on that he is exactly what he was purported to be, a phenom. At least in the small amount of time we've seen him, and also against other teams get the chance to watch on television, he just continues to do the same stuff with the bat. Drives in runs. Jordy Mercer will take strike 2. Mercer's had some success against Wood. 5 out of 11, and 2 of Jordy's 5 hits against Travis Wood have left the yard. And he goes down looking. 3 pitches. Andrew McCutchen coming to the plate, hitting 175, and he sent this tweet out with his bat on the bus seat saying, "We had a long talk last night and today." So hopefully the bat responds. Andrew has been in one of the worst slumps of his career. And he drives this one to the right center field gap. That ball is going to be caught by Dexter Fowler. No scores. We go to the bottom of the first at Wrigley Field. Dexter Fowler caught that ball in the gap. Nice running catch by Fowler. He covered a lot of ground here as McCutchen tried to go to the opposite gap. Just a little bit more to the right. That would have been 2 bases. But Fowler tracked it down. Before the game, the 2 center fielders were comparing notes. So Fowler and McCutchen chatting about, if I hit it to you, don't catch it. Apparently he didn't listen. Well, the Cubs Honda starting lineup. Look at the batting order put out by Joe Madden. Fowler leading off. Anthony Rizzo in the 2 spot. Last 10 games he's hitting .417. Soler, Bryant, Castro, Junior Lake's first start of the year. He was called up yesterday from AAA Iowa. First pitch to Fowler is outside.
Now, we talked in the open about the good start that Locke has, and one of those reasons he's making his 4th start tonight. He only has 4 walks in the season. That is great to see that type of control out of Jeff. 15 Ks, good strikeout to walk ratio.
1-1 pitch. It's 1-2. Jeff making his first start at Wrigley Field since the 9th of June in 2013. Got a no decision in that game and ended up only giving up 1 hit to the Cubs that day. Inside the Fowler, count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A good bite on that breaking ball. Seemed like it really fell off the table. A little too low, but still, it was a great pitch as far as the movement on it.
The 2-2 to center field. Now fall in front of McCutchen. Leadoff single for Fowler. Rivers Casino tips to win.
Well, I think the 2 spot's going to be big for both these teams today. It's going to be important for us to handle Rizzo. He has been doing such a great job, hitting in front of the big boys, Bryant in particular, getting on base. Going to have to control him, and you already mentioned the Mercer has really got great numbers, although he did strike out in that first inning against Wood. And last night we got beat essentially because of a big inning. I understand we got shut out also, but the big inning is what you try to avoid all the time as a starting pitcher, and I think that's what Locke needs to do. If you're going to give up a run here or a run there, you're not going to lose the game most of the time. Bend but don't break. Don't have any innings like Worley did yesterday where you give up that crooked number. You put a 3 spot up. That makes it tough, especially if the other guy is pitching the way Hamill did.
Yeah, that happened in the 3rd inning, and it happened with 2 outs also.
Stay away from the big inning. You could really put that down as a tip every single night. That is one of the keys for every starting pitcher. It's really just such a simple game. It's all about execution of basics.
And Jeff is getting some help right there.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No. Pitch on the very bottom of the kneecap, perhaps.
You still having to execute the pitch. I mean, that's the thing. If you're bouncing it up there, you're not going to get that call. You got to put it right on the edge. If you do that all night long, a lot of them are going to get called strikes.
That's Worley last night. Ended up giving up 4 earned runs on 9 hits. Struck out 3, suffered the loss. His record now 2-2. 2-2 to Rizzo. Chased it, fouled it off.
To get a piece of that.
I think he's convinced now he's going to go after the low pitch. After seeing 2 of them called strikes.
He saw that fastball way inside. He knew that hook was coming. Or at least you can't just sit on it because there are 2 strikes on you, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking, okay, he's probably coming with the hook. He was able to spoil it. Looks like they're going to go back inside, try and tie him up.
Oh, Fowler heading to second base. Hart's throw, and Jay there for the tag out. So Fowler is caught stealing for the first time this year.
Good job by Locke. You see Fowler, there was no reading anything there. He was just running on first move. That's guessing. He was guessing that Locke was going home. He guessed wrong.
Well, 1 out, base is empty. And a 2-ball, 2-strike pitch coming to Anthony Rizzo.
Another cool night here. Get the knit caps out.
This one is fouling down the same area. Yeah, 44 degrees the game time temperature. I believe it was the same last night.
Yeah, it's not
43 last night.
Not as much wind.
No.
It makes it a lot more comfortable tonight.
No wind chill factor.
Yes. A little breeze, but not much.
2-2 in the dirt. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The next pitch to Rizzo will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat.
Well, he's fouled the curveballs off. He's got now to where he's not chasing it down and away. I think he's proven to you that you have to throw him a fastball.
Fouls it off, so
that's the spot. I think you're going to have to get him. Rizzo's choking up quite a bit right now. Going to make sure that he's quick to the ball, shorter swing.
Locks 3-2.
Right there.
Outside corner, got him. Or battle. It's the bottom of the first. Second batter of the game for Locke.
Remember what we said about you keep hitting the edges, you're going to get a lot of those. There you go.
Well, Rizzo in a bit of disbelief.
I think that look there was kind of like, okay, well, you got that one, but probably wasn't a strike. I think he knows, and most hitters do, that if you gamble and you take a pitch on the edge with 2 strikes, sometimes you're going to be walking back to the dugout. So it can't always come as a shock.
1-0 to Jorge Soler. 2 balls, no strikes.
Doesn't mean you like it, but it does happen.
Soler hitting .270, pair of home runs. He's driven in 9. So a lengthy battle and a strikeout of Rizzo, and now quickly goes to 3-0 on Soler, the right fielder. And walked him on 4 pitches.
The difference in the 2 at-bats was he was able to get ahead of Rizzo right away, which put Rizzo on the defensive, and now he's got a swing at all of those borderline pitches, and he's fouling them all off, battling. And here, once you fall behind even just 1-0, now the pitcher is on the defensive. And if he doesn't give in and really throw one on the good part of the plate, a solid strike, well, then the hitter never has to chase because he's in the driver's seat. He can sit there and cherry pick, wait for his pitch.
Pitch to Chris Bryant. Out in the air right field. Sean Rodriguez drifting over toward the line, battling the sun. He makes the catch. And the Cubs are scoreless in the bottom of the first. On to the second at Wrigley Field. Pirates and the Cubs, game 2 of this 3-game series. Corey Hart leads off. Hart playing first base tonight. Pirates getting a right-handed bat in against Wood.
A huge difference in Wood splits between right-handers and left-handers. You want to fill that lineup up with the right-handed bats. The lefties they just don't hit him.
It'd be a good night for Pedro not to face Wood too. He is 1 for 18 career against him. Corey Hart ready for the 1-1. This one is a little fly ball that went well in front of the Pirate dugout. Goes as a strike, 1-2. 133 the lefties are hitting against him.
Pretty big difference, isn't it?
Big difference. 255 for the righties, 2 home runs. 1-2. Inside. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And Hart fouls it off to Rick Sofield down third.
Nice pickup by Rick. He's got to catch about 8 in a row to make up for the one he missed the other day.
Good job funneling that ball in. That's the thing, though. If you're going to try to catch one as a base coach, you better catch it. There's a swing and a miss. That's strikeout number 3 of the 4 outs that have been made in the game. 3 by way of strikeout.
I think we're going to see just a change-up up and away.
He's got a very good change. His change is difficult to pick up out of the hand. Looks a lot like the fastball. Well, Corey Hart is out, 1 gone. Base is empty. The batter is Starling Marte. And Marte puts it in play down to the shortstop Castro. 2 out. Take a look at Gregory Polanco a little earlier. Well, last night he was pulled from the lineup due to a sore groin, tightness in his groin. Our Allegheny Health Network injury update. So Polanco worked out a little bit and may be available tonight as a pinch hitter.
That's a good sign that he's swinging the bat, taking batting practice. Hip rotation is what really bothers that groin area. And if you can do that, either swinging the bat or when you're throwing, then can't be too serious. I have expertise in that area.
You do.
And a few DL stints because of that.
Neil Walker takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Neil. A 10-game hitting streak. Right now he is tied with A.J. Pierzynski for the longest current hitting streak in the National League. Takes a strike there, and it's 1-2. He is 7 for 20 with a home run, hitting .350 against Travis Wood.
W.B. Mason strike zone shows that a couple of pitches right in the corner. Now he moves one inside. He's executing his pitches, Mr. Wood.
It's gone in order in the top half of the second. No score. Baseball, A.J. Burnett, Jared Hughes, and other Buccos mic up for workouts. 9-year-old Jacob Haw helps other kids through Clint Hurdle's charity and much more. See it on Inside Pirates Baseball, presented by Allegheny Health Network, tomorrow after postgame on Root Sports. What's wrong with this picture?
That gentleman there can't have too many friends in the stands.
That is a dress code violation.
Pirate hat, Cardinal sweatshirt.
The Cardinal fans would agree.
In Wrigley Field. We cannot have that combo on.
Starlin Castro leads off against Jeff Locke in the bottom of the second. Takes a strike. Castro's off to a pretty good start this season. 324, pair of home runs, 11 runs batted in. One ball and one strike to Castro. Locke winds and the 1-1. And a short hop to Mercer. Stays with it. And he got him.
They'll look at that one.
Joe Madden quickly up the dugout step. The call is out on the field.
I was a little surprised to see the out call.
They've just shown it here on the big screen, and there was a reaction from the crowd. So they will take a look at this one.
It's close. I think they're going to overturn it, though.
That's about as bang-bang as they get right there, where there's a difference.
Allegheny Health Network Super Mo says, where's the foot, where's the ball? Foot's on the back, ball's not in the glove. I think that's pretty much tells the story there.
Dale Scott, crew chief, saying safe. So Castro is aboard. Cubs have a base runner in the second.
Call was overturned. Boy, that is a big television set they have.
It really is.
It's huge. It is really nice, so bright and sharp. Didn't think I was going to like it, and I was wrong. I think it definitely adds something to this old ballpark. The cozy confines just got a little more cozy with that big board. But that just turns into just a real nice big screen. And fans really seem to enjoy it.
Junior Lake 0-2. Lake called up yesterday as the Cubs evened up their bench. They'd been going with an extra pitcher and a 4-man bench. So reliever Brian Schlitter was sent to AAA Iowa. And Junior Lake called up to even out the bench, making his first start tonight. So Junior Lake a little bit over the last couple of seasons. Making his debut 2 seasons ago. Which was also 2 managers ago here in Chicago. Ricky Renteria, former Pirate, was here for 1 year. Another former Pirate, Dale Swaim, here before that. Cervelli blocks it, and Castro going nowhere.
Well, they didn't have the horses, but it looks like the stable might be filling up now. They certainly have a lineup that looks like it's going to score a lot of runs this year. Maybe their best everyday lineup in a long time.
One and 2 the count, and the pitch to Lake. Ground ball toward the middle, past Mercer into center field. Castro will head to third. And with nobody out, the Cubs have runners at the corners.
This is a little bit of bad luck. If you get somebody to pull a pitch away, they're going to Yeah, it wasn't that way. It was right down the middle. But still, a ground ball like this, so many times, is just going to be an easy play, leading the shortstop right to the bag. But in this case, it sneaks through, and now they are in business. And remember, one of the things we talked about, stay out of the big inning. Well, that's the job now. Don't worry about Castro scoring. If you get out of this inning, it's 1-0. Who cares? But you just don't let him put up a 2-spot or a 3-spot.
Wellington Castillo, the catcher. Hasn't hit into a double play yet this year, but he'd be a candidate. Ball 1.
It's an excellent jinx you put on. I like that. Hasn't hit in the 1 all year.
It's about time.
Yeah.
It's the law of averages.
Well, that's a good call on your part.
Hit one either to
even if he's
Jay Hay or Jordy here.
Even if he's hit into 10, you say none, and that puts the hex on him.
Don't get me started on that stuff. No hexes, no jinxes. Just play the game. Castro over there at third base, leadoff base hit. Infield single for Castro. And Lake at first, and Jeff will go over there. No score, bottom of the second inning. Cubs threatening. 1-1 pitch. And right to Walker. 1 out.
A little bit of good fortune there. He hit this one hard. That's always one of the best things a pitcher can ever have going for him. The old Adam ball. Right at him. Good quick reaction by Walker.
That's a good thing right there.
Yeah, he immediately looked to third to see if he had the double play.
Well, the pitcher coming up, and he is a double play candidate. Although he's a good hitting pitcher, Travis Wood.
Maybe bunting. Maybe. Oh.
Strike 1 to Wood.
Well, you think of him as a regular hitter then, because if you're a pitcher, this is a bunt situation.
He has 9 career home runs. That's a lot for a pitcher. Now he squares and gets a piece of it, fouls it off, and he's in the hole, 0-2.
Almost looked like he was push that ball toward first base hard.
See what he does now. 0-2.
This scenario, I like the bunt to go down third so that the runner can follow the third baseman in as he fields it. Chuck Tanner used to have a set play. And it was no sign. He would just tell you, hey, bunt it to the third baseman and see what they do. If he throws it to first, we're going to score a run.
0-2 to Wood. And he strikes out. Wood down on strikes, 2 away. Locke with 1 out to get, now facing Addison Russell.
Yeah, they went against the traditional book and didn't have the pitcher move the runner up 90 feet. Catch a break now. You got Russell up there and only 1 man in scoring position instead of 2.
And Addison Russell hitting in the 9 spot. Cubs have been hitting their pitcher 8th all year. Addison Russell 4 out of 25. Hitting 160. has struck out 13 times in 25 at bats. 2 balls, no strikes. Jeff falling behind Addison Russell. 21 years old. Youngest member of the Cubs. He's moved past one of their other prospects. Remember Javi Baez, who was up here last year. And Baez right now figuring to play most of the year in AAA. And they might even work him at a new position. He might play some more shortstop as opposed to second base. Popped up, foul ground right side. Corey Hart to the wall, but it's well out of his reach.
Well, it's a nice problem for him to have. A couple of good young middle infielders.
Two balls, one strike to Addison Russell.
Some Cub people think that Russell's the shortstop of the future. That Castro will maybe move on.
Castro was that guy when he was called up. He was a young, hot prospect at the time. This one to left field and toward the corner. Castro's going to score. Marte with it. Guns it back in, and it's a run-scoring double for Addison Russell. 1-0 Chicago.
Well, go back to the decision to not bunt the runner over at the second base. And that's paid dividends for the Pirates. This base hit you're seeing right there, that would have scored 2 runs instead of just 1. A little bit of a lucky break right there. Even though they get the base hit with 2 outs, it still could be just a 1-run inning.
Second and third and 2 down, and Dexter Fowler up. Switch hitter batting right-handed. Rounds a foul. Or strike 1. Fowler 1 for 1, caught stealing in the first. Leading off the inning with a base hit. It's 1-1 now to Dexter Fowler. Standing room only out there, apparently.
I think it might have something to do with the temperature of those aluminum benches. Probably that's something they want to sit on.
That's odd, though. Everyone's on their feet out there.
They're probably not drinking hot chocolate either.
Probably not. 1-1 pitch. Fowler to right field, a base hit. Hart cuts it off. They'll go down to second base, and it hits the umpire. Hart couldn't get it out of his hand. And down to third base goes Fowler. 3-0 Cubs. And Hart was lucky that C.B. Buckner, the second base umpire, was in the way. If that went on to the left field, who knows what Fowler would have done. Maybe he'd have tried to score.
Well, I'm glad that the ball just quit rolling around. That was one of those plays that somebody pick it up and call time. First hop on the throw home actually hit the infield dirt. And Sean didn't get much air under that ball. He's just trying to throw it home. And then there was the easy out at second base. Inning should be over right now, but looked like Hart maybe got his feet tangled as he tried to throw that ball to second.
Rizzo ground ball to Milwaukee. Long throw to get him. 3 runs come in for the Cubs on 4 hits. They leave a man.
And if he thinks catchers should have a little bit more time when they lead off an inning.
Yeah, I think so, because sometimes, especially, I'm going to talk about myself. I run to cover first base every ground ball. Sometimes I'm the last out and I'm the first hitter. So I got to breathe a little bit, you know.
And it took him a little bit right now to get his way into the on-deck circle, and you see him going through his final paces right now long after the clock has expired. So hopefully MLB could be a little bit more considerate. Tuffy Gozwich went on record saying he wished he could have a little bit more consideration when they make the last out of an inning or when they're leading up the next, like Cervelli is right now, Tim.
Yeah, you mentioned the Diamondbacks catcher, who I do believe was warned already. A written warning by Major League Baseball, and I believe next week going to start issuing fines.
You know, I would think that they'll use a little common sense on that stuff with the catchers and the pitchers also.
Well, he takes a strike, and it's 0-2.
I mean, you know, it's got to be the same thing for the pitchers. You can't expect them to come running off the field, grab their glove, and run out there and start firing warm-up tosses. You know, a little sip of water, up deep breaths, right?
Well, yeah. I think that would be wise if they would give a little bit of a grace period for pitchers and catchers.
In a perfect world, you wouldn't need any of these rules. You know, if everybody just used their common sense. But that wasn't what was happening. You had players, you know, after every pitch would get out of the box, take a little walk out on the grass. And, I mean, it was just getting ridiculous, and so that's why the rules were put into place, and I totally understand. And I think the players, if they don't like them, they have themselves to blame. Because I think everybody would agree the games are much quicker now that you don't have the hitters taking those long walks after every pitch all around the place and adjusting batting gloves constantly and all the little things they like to do.
It's just one thing they have to get used to.
You can still take some time like Cervelli is there, but he's not taking a long walk. He's staying there in the box to when he gets his thoughts together, he's right there ready to hit.
Cervelli down on strikes. Travis Wood, how's it going on tonight? 4 strikeouts. Let's go back to our Root Sports studios in Pittsburgh with a State Farm game break and Rob King.
Number 3, the right fielder, Sean Rodriguez.
That's been a tough go for the Brewers, that's for sure. Certainly nobody in the Pittsburgh uniform feeling sorry for Milwaukee, but they have had a tough go. Kyle Loesch has had a tough go. And the scoreboard room having a tough go tonight. That's not Sean Rodriguez.
No, that is not Serpico.
They got the name right. They got Jordy Mercer's picture up there.
There's Serpico.
Apparently they're still working the bugs out. 2 strikes to Sean on right field tonight.
Yeah, it's a little different than just hanging a number out the window. The old scoreboard, pretty basic.
1-2 pitch, ground ball to short. Castro backhanding, dropping. And Rodriguez is safe, and that is a play that Castro should make. And because he decided to backhand it, Rodriguez will take first base.
He didn't backhand it.
He didn't catch it. Tried to backhand it.
Did not have it stuck in that glove at all. It got right on the heel. The ball took a little higher bounce, and he didn't bring the glove up to get the pocket where the ball was. And so it hit right on the heel and fell on the ground.
Go to first base. Walk up there to try to sacrifice Rodriguez into scoring position. 1 out, top half of the 3rd inning. That's a foul ball. 1 strike to Jeff. Locke is 1 for 7 at the plate this year. Does not have a sacrifice bunt yet. That 1 hit he got was in Milwaukee. It was a ringing double.
Well, he's been hitting the heck out of the ball. Just total change at the plate as far as his swing and everything. Not going to help him right now.
Ball and a strike to Jeff. Chris Bryant at third base, way in on the grass.
Yeah, he wants to bunt this toward first. Rizzo has to hold on Sean.
Takes a strike that time.
There's
on top of him.
There's always a corner infielder that has something that they have to do, and that's the direction you want to bunt the ball. Bryant obviously has nothing to do, so he's all over you. Bunt the ball to first base. That way, what Bryant does doesn't even mean anything.
And Jeff Alford, he strikes out.
I'm sure he bunted one of those fastballs.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 5 strikeouts for Travis Wood. Josh Harrison was a strikeout victim in the first inning. 218 for Jay Hay. Wood, the former Cincinnati Red. And Jay Hay hits one down the left field side, but that is going to hook and go into the seats. Strike 1. Rodriguez back to first. Wood making his 15th start, his 16th appearance against the Pirates. He was 5-7 against Pittsburgh. Jay Hay pops it up. Middle of the infield, Rizzo. Pirates go quietly. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 left. 2.5 in the books. 3-0 Chicago on the UPMC scoreboard. Bottom of the third inning. Cubs will have Jorge Soler facing Jeff Locke to start the bottom of the inning. First ball swinging, fouls it out of play. Soler reached on a base on balls in the first inning, was stranded. Takes a strike and it's 0-2. Soler was in the middle of an 0-for-15 slump and ended up going 2-for-4 last night. Got out of it. Takes one inside for ball one.
This game was very early, but it sure has that feel of last night. Cubs starting pitcher really easing it along, and then they put up a 3 spot.
Soler down on strikes.
So Locke will get on a roll.
Here's tonight's Barrel Automotive League leaders stat, the rookie batting leaders in the National League. He's at the plate right now, the leader, Chris Bryant, in .351. Odubel Herrera from the Phillies. Jock Peterson, center fielder for the Dodgers, up there as well. And Soler, 5th on the list. Bryant flying to right field in the first inning. He's 0-for-1. The Cubs have 2 of the top 5 rookies in batting average. Strike called, and it's 0-2 to Bryant.
Love to see it when Locke gets those called strikes on the fastball inside on the right-handers. It's a very important pitch for him.
0-2 pitch. Struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Locke.
Yeah, getting on a little bit of a roll. I mean, that's really kind of what happened with Worley last night. Is that he had that one bad inning. And threw a ton of pitches in that inning, and then was very efficient the rest of the time. And that's exactly what we're going to have from Locke. He's got to do the job now the rest of the game. He's giving up as many runs as allowed. You can't be giving up more than 3 as a starter.
1-0 pitch to Starlin Castro. Singled and scored in the second inning. 1-1.
Give up 3 after the game. You're thinking, well, that wasn't great, but wasn't a disaster either. It was okay. And most of the time, you'll give your team a chance for a W. Probably win half of them if you only give up 3.
Bouncer to third. Jay Hay moving toward the baseball. Fires it into the first row.
Wow. That was way up there. I don't know if Hart even tried to catch it. It was so high.
That ball sprouted wings. And that is the second error on the Pirates tonight. Could have been an inning-ending play. Puts the man in scoring position at second base on a 2-base error.
That goes in the seats on the fly.
Junior Lake, the batter, fouls it off for strike 1.
Jay might be in a little bit of a fielding slump, did you say? Last night he tried to barehand that ball.
Yeah.
Got away from him. I'm so used to him being so solid down there at third. A few miscues, and I don't know, it just grabs your attention. Doesn't do that very often.
Pitch to Lake. Fouled off the plate. Well, I'll give you an idea. Last year in 72 games at third, he had 3 errors.
Yeah,
he's got 4 errors this year already.
He is about as solid of a third baseman as you can have down there most of the time. A little bit of a early season slump with that glove, maybe.
0-2, the count to Lake. Right to left. And here comes Castro in to score. Lake heading to second base. Looked like Marte might have had some trouble in that left field corner. It's now 4-0 Chicago.
Well, this road trip has been a story of 2-out RBIs. We had a ton of them down in Phoenix playing the Diamondbacks, and now the Cubs are specializing in these 2-out RBIs.
See what happened down there.
Well, you don't know what kind of what the ball's going to do, so you can't just go aggressively diving into that corner. It could hit, one of the bricks, come bouncing right past you. So just taking it easy.
We'll walk Wellington Castillo to get to the pitcher, Travis Wood. And from where we sit, we can't see that corner. We have to wait to see a replay. And it looked like it took Marte a long time to get out of there.
Now this is definitely a move you have to make it to put Castillo on, but Wood, even though he struck out that first time, he's a walk in the park. You got to still pitch him like he's a regular hitter. I mean, you definitely could tell the Cubs think of him as a regular hitter. They let him swing away twice in a bunt situation.
Castillo at first base, Junior Lake over at second, and Travis Wood, who struck out swinging in the second inning, 0 for 1 tonight.
Many home runs, did you say 9?
9 career home runs. One ball and no strikes. He's hit him off some good pitchers, too. A strike call.
The last one he hit was off Wainwright, wasn't
it? I think that was his first one.
Oh, first one?
Yeah, his first home run was off Adam Wainwright. His last one was also against St. Louis last July 25th. It was off of Joe Kelly, who's now with Boston.
A couple of pretty good pitchers.
And the ground ball to the right side. Corey Hart will race Wood to the bag, and almost a collision. Wood thinks he's safe, but Corey got there first. 1 run, 1 hit, and 1 error. And it's 4-0 Chicago.
Brought to you by Allegheny Health Network. Health for all. By Kenny Ross. Ask a neighbor. And by Levin Mattress. Located in all Levin furniture showrooms and freestanding stores. Let's go Bucks!
Cubs 4, Pirates nothing. We head to the top of the 4th inning. Wrigley Field. You can save big on Pirates baseball this season with the Port Authority Connect card. Save up to $10 per ticket to Sunday through Thursday Pirates games. Get $10 off on lower outfield box and outfield box tickets, and save $6 per ticket on outfield reserved and grandstand tickets. To get those tickets, go to pirates.com/connectcard. Jordy Mercer leads off. He's back up on the scoreboard, too.
Game leader in scoreboard appearances so far.
That one is in the Pirates bullpen for foul ball strike, 0-2. I thought they might put Sean Rodriguez's photo up there just to make it even.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
But they got it right this time. Nothing in 2 to Jordy. Pokes this one towards second. Addison Russell. Nice play. 1 out. Balls aren't falling in for the Pirates here in Chicago yet.
Center fielder
Andrew McCutchen had a 1-pitch at bat last time up and flying out to right center field. Dexter Fowler made a long running catch.
Well, this is no explanation of the lack of offense to this point of the Pirates here in Chicago. But when you have weather conditions like last night and tonight, cold, a little bit of wind blowing in. Last night, a lot of wind blowing in. It's a pitcher's ballpark. It's not the hitter's ballpark that everybody thinks it is when it's like it is now. It's not easy to come in here and put up big offensive numbers. It's cold and the ball's not carrying, and what wind there is coming in out of the north. It totally transforms this place.
2-0. It's 2-1. I showed you a picture earlier of McCutchen tweeting out a picture of his bat on the team bus today, saying he had a long talk and didn't listen as well the first time up, but it's going to eventually. Clint Hurl always says, when you're slumping, you're one day closer to getting hot. And this one on the ground, left side, diving, stopped by Castro from his knees. It gets past Rizzo. And that'll be a base hit for McCutchen. So Kutcher's aboard with 1 out.
Now, this would have been just an amazing play if he could have thrown out Kutch. You don't dive into the shortstop hole and throw somebody out that can run like he does. He's flying down that line.
You know, still some question about the knee of McCutchen and what kind of condition it's in. And Clint Hurl was saying he's not concerned that he says it doesn't affect him. He said it might affect him on the base paths a little bit, but we haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, just show the replay. You know, only Kutch knows how it feels, but it doesn't hurt to the point to where you can, see him not running well or limping or hobbled at all. So you have to take that as a very good sign.
Corey Hart fouls it back. Clint also said today that he doesn't believe that any knee troubles that McCutchen might have had are any reason for his slow start. One and one, the count to Corey Hart. 2-1. McCutchen normally hits well here at Wrigley Field. That plus the fact that he has been slumping, you'd figure something's going to happen. And yesterday Clint described it to me. He said that combination, he said it should be combustible here during this series for Andrew. Pedro watching tonight.
Well,
the left-hander Wood.
It was combustible. We could use the heat.
Yeah. Wouldn't mind some of that.
Very cool night. Be down in the low 40s before it's all said and done.
It's a nice coat you have, by the way. Is that new?
Uh-huh. Got it yesterday.
Ripped right down to Bryant. 2 men out.
Now that's one of the beauties of the game of baseball. You do everything perfect. You absolutely rip it. Just nothing but an out. You got to have a little good fortune in this game, too.
2 down, Starling Marte up. He bounced out to Starlin Castro at shortstop in the 2nd inning. Cutch has to dive back. 4-0 Cub lead. Pirates batting in the 4th. Ball 1. Starling had a 6-game hitting streak going. And then went 0 for 4 last night. Snapped that. He'll get hot again. Just like to go through a stretch where a few of the guys are hot at the same time.
It'll happen. A long year. This is going to be a good offense.
Sometimes guys get cold at the same time. Sometimes they get hot at the same time. Sometimes it's just one guy. Marte belts this one to left field and deep. Lake is back. He looks up. It is gone. A home run into the basket. A 2-run shot for Marte, and the Pirates on the board. It's 4-2.
Marte is one of those hitters that you know is just going to bloom. He's got MVP type skills. Nothing on a baseball field that this man cannot do, including hitting home runs, and he is showing the way in that department this year. Great defender, great base stealer, and showing off that he's one of the stronger hitters in our lineup as far as how far he can hit a ball. I would like to know what the exit velocity of that one was. Hit one the other day, I believe, was in Milwaukee. Came off the bat at 111 miles an hour. That line drive out of the ballpark, probably somewhere in that vicinity.
Neil Walker on the ground right side. Addison Russell will throw him out. Pirates pick up 2 runs, 2 hits, and the long ball by Starling Marte scores Andrew McCutchen.
Wrigley Field. Our friend the sports judge had a question for Francisco Cervelli on Twitter Tuesday. He said, you show a lot of emotion behind the plate. When did the fist pump first get started?
Minor leagues. I used to do it in the Yankees a lot, but it's something that I don't plan it. It's adrenaline, especially later in the game. As example, the other day in Arizona, we got big 2 outs with men in scoring position, game tie, and this is my adrenaline. This is me.
And certainly we hope to see a few more of those fist pumps, and I think the dugout gets pumped up when you see it. The fans are certainly responsive to it. We got a lot of tweets about Francisco Cervelli and the fist pump, so Tim and Bob, let's see some more of that, okay?
I agree with you 100%, Robbie. I think that having a catcher back there showing that enthusiasm fires everybody up. The pitchers like it. I think it's great. It means he is into the ball game.
This was the one in Arizona.
Yeah, I remember that as he was going off, and he got those two, or they got the 2 outs, and it was a big part of the game. He was just showing how into it he is. He is into the game with everything, not only just his head, but his heart also. And there's nothing wrong with showing a little bit of good emotion every now and then. I like it a lot.
Strike 3 called. And Addison Russell down on strikes to lead off the Cubs 4th.
And I think, too, that he does it in a really nice way that's not showing up the other team or anything. A couple fist pumps as you're running off. Like right there, if he would have pumped his fist a couple times before he threw the ball around, that's not in the right way. The hitters aren't going to like that. But in a big situation, I don't think. I think that sort of thing is almost expected if you're into the game and really passionate about it.
Cervelli putting the sign down for Locke. 1-0 pitch to Dexter Fowler. 2 balls, no strikes. Fowler a 2-run single in the second inning. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Switch hitter batting .282 currently. Swings through that one. 2-1.
It was almost a bunt.
Well, when things are going your way, they're going your way.
He tried to check his swing, a little half swing, and I guess it's a good thing he didn't take a big rip at it the way he hit it right on the money. Should stop the bat. The ball,
excuse me, single.
The ball hit right in the middle of the head of the bat, but because there was no swing, didn't go anywhere.
Fowler aboard with 1 out. He's 3 for 3.
Will he be running here?
Rock throws to first. We caught him last time. Anthony Rizzo struck out looking in the first and then grounded out to Walker in the second inning. The pitch. It's up high for a ball. Fowler off of first base and Locke ready. Came inside on him. Ball's behind, 2 balls, no strikes. Rizzo nearly hit for the cycle on the 24th of April against Cincinnati. Missed it by the triple. That's what most people miss it by.
75 pitches now for Locke. A lot of those have been to Rizzo.
10 pitch at bat with him in the first before he struck him out. And a 3-1. Well, the 3-0 rather is fouled off. Now it is 3-1. That's the first thing they do when they get the ball. They always look at the label. And ball 4, Rizzo's aboard. So with 1 out, the Cubs have runners at first and second. Second walk of the night for Jeff.
Hit a ground ball.
That's going to look at the phones.
Going to the bat phone.
Bullpen phone on the right. Replay phone back to the clubhouse is the other phone there. Soler takes the ball in the dirt. Cletus Rojas is the man on the other end of the phone. He's got the clipboard. And now the bullpen will get activated.
Got the shin guards on too. He's ready for action. Looks like ready to joust or something at night. All the gear on.
Now Cervelli wants to talk with Jeff Locke. On the same page here. Cubs put 3 up in the second inning, a single run in the third.
It's an important inning for Locke and the Pirates. They've finally put some runs up on the board here in Chicago. Big shutout yesterday. Shutout the first 3 innings tonight. And you don't want to give them the runs right back. The 2 that they picked up are now on the bases. In a double play.
Strike on the corner.
Been getting some of those calls on the edge.
He is.
Can't complain about the width of the strike zone tonight. WB Mason strike zone shows that about an inch or so inside. Same pitch, same result. Same result.
Soler visiting with home plate umpire Dan Iasonia. Now he knows what the strike zone is.
It's
a violation.
Definitely giving him stuff inside. He was getting looked at too there.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Told him to get back in the box.
Might get a letter.
Fowler takes off for third, and this one is fouled off.
Think he'll get a letter?
He'll probably get a letter. After a regular pitch, there's no foul ball or anything like that, you can't just step out.
You would think nowadays it would be a text or an email. Is it an actual letter with a stamp on it?
Yes. I don't know. I didn't get one. I don't know what they look like.
I read somewhere that it is an actual letter. That's why I said that.
Okay. Probably delivered to the team, you'd imagine.
Most likely.
I know what the Pirates do is they'll give the letter to the player and address the issue. Runners both go. And no throw. Double steal. Looked like Rizzo missed the sign the first time because he was anchored on the last pitch while Fowler took off. So a double steal. Fowler with his 6th stolen base of the season. Rizzo with his 6th.
He gets a breaking ball that's away, and not really the pitch you want to make a throw to third on. You have to reach out and backhand it, and then turn back, go the other direction, and you got to throw around the hitter. If that guy from second gets a good jump, you're not going to throw him out very often on that pitch.
2-2. And Soler bouncing ball to Jay. He comes to the plate. Cervelli's got him. Fowler is out. Played by Harrison. A solid throw to Cervelli.
Excellent play. What's Rizzo doing here?
He's Stay put.
Yes, he did. Good for the Pirates.
I'm not sure why he did. Well, he should have advanced on this play.
Well, you know there is a sign that you give the runner at second base so that he knows what the runner at third is going to do. And so if you tell the guy at second base the runner at third is going on contact, well, then you know that you're going to have to go to third. As soon as he saw that throw go home, he needed to be getting into third base.
Joe Madden came out of the dugout briefly, probably to question De La Sonia and the blocking rule, but nothing came of it. 2 on, 2 out. Chris Bryant will take ball 1. The rule is a little different this year, where that used to be a crew chief review, where the umpire would get together and decide to look at that. Have the replay operations center in New York look at a blocking play, and then while they would do that, they would also determine safe or out. But that has changed. Now a manager has to challenge it. One. And Bryant to left field. This will get a run home as Rizzo will trot in. An RBI for Chris Bryant. He's got 10 of them now. And it is a 5-2 Chicago lead.
They got him out, down and in at least once tonight. Tried to go back in there. He hit a spot. That's where the glove was with that fastball. Bryant doesn't look like he's got a lot of holes. And able to execute that same swing time after time.
Chris Bryant's hit chases Jeff Locke. Clint Hurdle comes to get him. Antonio Bastardo will be coming in for the Pirates. Pitching change timeout in Chicago. 5-2 Cubs. Ralph Kiner was a Hall of Fame slugger for the Pirates, a distinguished baseball announcer, and a known name among the Hollywood elite. Celebrate his life and career with interviews from his teammates, fellow broadcasters, and Kiner himself on a special Inside Pirates Baseball tonight after postgame on Root Sports. Jeff Locke done after 3 2/3 innings, 5 runs, 4 of them earned, but they don't count. And now here is Antonio Bastardo.
Really getting a whole ton of work. Just 3 2/3 of innings of work in this first month of the season.
Bastardo comes in 2 on and 2 out. Soler at third, Bryant at first, and Castro at the plate. 0-1 to Castro. Castro's been on base twice and has scored 2 runs. Soler at third. And Bryant leading off at first base. 2-out RBI single. Again, another 2-out hit for the Cubs. Castro reached on an error by Josh Harrison, a throwing error in the third. That was with 2 outs also. Eventually came around to score on Junior Lake's RBI double. And time is called at home plate. Outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Ristardo pitched a scoreless 9th inning and struck out 2 in Arizona Sunday in the 8-0 Pirate win. That was the win that clinched the 3-game sweep. Two-0 pitch, and Castro is gearing up for a fastball. Fouled it off. And it's 2-1. Got a slider. Worked against the Cubs on the 20th of the month last Monday. Gave up 2 hits and a run. Bastardo's 2-1 to right field on a base hit. Another run comes in. Soler will score. That'll be charged to Locke. And it's now 6-2.
Bastardo got that ball downstairs at the knees, but pretty much split the plate in half. Didn't get it outside. You can watch Cervelli's glove in that replay. You saw it moving back toward the middle of the plate, but the ball never got there. Jeff's ERA takes a little bit of a hit tonight.
Well, the line's still moving for the Cubs with 2 outs. Junior Lake, a swing and a miss. He's 2 for 2, single double. RBI, a run scored.
And he's allowed to take a little bit of a walk because he swung and missed. He's taking full advantage of that fact. Well, that pine tar is high in the bat, isn't it?
It is. Can't be any higher on the bat than the width of home plate. Strike 2.
They're going to take another walk. He puts some tape around and then puts the pine tar on, takes the tape off like he's painting the kitchen.
Yeah. Most guys just slathered on there. He makes it a work of art.
The blue painter's tape. He's got his wrist taped up.
Runners go. Pitch gets away from Cervelli.
Cervelli, he found it right away. That was good. Sometimes you're not sure exactly which direction that ball went, and with the runners moving, if he would have had to look around much for it, that could have been a problem.
Well, 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs and a 1-2 pitch coming to Junior Lake. These Cubs are running more than we can remember seeing them do in the past. They came into the game tonight 2nd in the National League in stolen bases as a team with 20, behind the Cincinnati Reds with 23. Billy Hamilton most of those. This team had only 65 stolen bases all year last year, but Joe Madden has them with 20 plus already. Well on pace to shatter that mark from last year. Pitch inside, and it's 3-2. Wellington Castillo on deck, and Francisco Cervelli needs to talk to Bastardo here. Pirates need an out. 3 runs in the second for the Cubs, 1 in the third, 2 more here in the fourth.
Well, the hope was to put a 0 up, but it did not work out that way. They have given the 2 runs right back, and only a base hit away from giving up a couple more.
Three and 2 to Lake. Here comes the payoff pitch from Antonio Bastardo. Up in the air. Sean Rodriguez will handle it. That'll put an end to the 4th inning. 2 more runs for the Cubs. And after 4, they lead it 6-2. We'd like to welcome Pitcairn Borough cable TV viewers in the Pitcairn area. Thanks for watching and rooting on your Pittsburgh Pirates. All of us at Root Sports and the Pirates appreciate your support. Along with Bob Walk and Robbie Smukowski, I'm Tim Neverett. Plenty of Pirates fans hopeful that the Bucs can come back here tonight, as they have found themselves down 6-2 after 4 innings. Cubs with 9 hits already. The Pirates only 2. Francisco Cervelli will lead off. It'll be the bottom third of the order for the Bucs. Cervelli, Rodriguez, and the pitcher's spot. Travis Wood into the wind, and he delivers a strike. He had a long break. That was a long half inning with the Cubs at bat, and Wood sitting in the dugout on a cold night. Cervelli rips this one, and it's in the glove of Castro.
And it stayed in the glove.
Can you believe it? Starlin Castro with a terrific play. Take away a hit from Cervelli. Now, there are some around these parts who are saying that Castro is playing the best shortstop of his career this month of April. Even though he made an error tonight.
Tremendous. When he first came up, it looked like he was going to be one of the better shortstops in the National League for a long time. But it just didn't work out for him in that way. And maybe now with a better cast of players out there around him, maybe he'll go back the way he was when he was very young, first got in the league. Looked like he and Darwin Barney were going to be out there together for 10 years.
Yeah. Looked that way. Rodriguez belts one to left field. Sean's got himself a base hit. Big turnaround first. 1-out single for Rodriguez. Pirates will send up a pinch hitter, Jung Ho Gung. He'll hit for Bastardo. So Jung Ho Gung's first plate appearance here at Wrigley Field. Rodimus Lee's warming up. Pirates hoping to get multiple innings out of him the way this game has gone. Locke lasting only 3 2/3 tonight. Wood facing Jung Ho Gung. Gung takes upstairs for a ball. 4 out of 20 on the season. Be nice to see some of that power we've seen him display on occasion.
He tried right there. He took a big swing hoping it was going to be a fastball. Off-speed pitch, got out in front of it.
Fastball strike. Jung Ho falls behind in the count, 1-2. Wood shaking off Castillo. And the 1-2 pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It looked like he shook off fastball in and said yes to fastball away. And then he threw a fastball in. So much for giving location.
Wants it inside again. Time is called. Ball got away from the Pirate bullpen. Told by somebody last night they're going to move these bullpens.
Yeah, I'm not going to like that. That's one of the things I like about this ballpark. It's still a place where the fans can watch the guys warm up. I mean, in fact, if you're sitting down there, you're almost right next to them as they're warming up.
A gun down on strikes, 2 away. I was told last night that those bullpens are going to be underneath out in the outfield.
Yeah, hopefully they still have those cool heaters. Those are nice, aren't they? Yeah. It looks like everyone down there has their own heater.
Here's the pitch to Josh Harrison. He goes to the right side. Rizzo gloves it. That takes care of that. No runs, a hit, a man left. Halfway through the 5th at Wrigley, it's 6-2 Cubs. End of the Cubs 11-game winning streak with a 6-1 win. Manny Sanguillen had a big day at the plate. 2 home runs. He drove in 3. Also, Gene Alley went 3 for 4 in that game. Luke Walker, Bruce Delcan, and Dave Justy combined on the hill to hold the Cubs to just 3 hits. Jung Ho Kang remains in the game at third base. And on the hill, Rodimus Lees. Start the bottom of the 5th inning. Cubs with a 6-2 lead. And pitch to Castillo. This is for ball 1.
See what Lees has done on the season. He's kind of filling out that role Jim Gomez used to have. He's the guy that comes in earlier in a ball game and can go multiple innings for you. Trying to save the pen a little bit.
Pitch to Castillo. In the air to center field, a base hit. 10th hit for the Cubs. First for Castillo. It's the third time in 5 innings the Cubs have had a leadoff base hit.
So what does Wood do this time? Does he bunt? Or does he swing away like a regular hitter? What will they decide?
Swing away. That's strike 1.
Let's hope he gets into a double play.
It'd be nice to see him hit into a double play. A 4-run lead. Figure you might want to add some more insurance. You got nobody out. Well, now he's going to try to bunt him over, it looks like. Nope. Pops it up. Cervelli chasing it. That's in the seats. That's in a tough area. That plexiglass down there above the brick wall, that's newer. For a catcher without that plexiglass, it'd be easier to reach in further, but it's a good protection for the fans.
Yeah, you need it here.
Ball hit there last night, right where Cervelli's standing. 0-2, and he tries to bunt 0-2 and strikes out.
Don't understand it, but
that was a strange at bat. Our T-Mobile game changer, Addison Russell, in the 2nd inning with 2 men out. An RBI double. Right, got the Cubs on the board. He would eventually come around and score himself. Addison Russell 1 for 2. Struck out looking in the 4th. 1 out, 1 on. And Russell hits this one in the air to left center. Marte there. 2 out. Just go back to that Travis Wood at bat, Bob. Just can't figure that out.
Well, the simple answer is they look at him as a regular hitter. I mean, you wouldn't bunt a regular hitter in that spot, and that's how they look at Wood, is he is a regular hitter, and so they're going to let him swing away. He did twice. Kind of odd that then they would make him bunt 0-2. I don't understand that, but if they're looking at him like a regular hitter, I mean, that isn't being very consistent.
Dexter Fowler down and left-handed for the first time tonight. Fouls this one away. Fowler has 1 of the Cubs' stolen bases tonight. Last inning, the Cubs stole 4 bases. They had 2 double steals. Last time they stole 4 bases in an inning, June 28th, I beg your pardon, August 23rd, 1997, against Montreal. It was in the first inning of that game. But it's apparent what one of Joe Madden's things is as far as offense, and that's run.
Good walk that time. Cervelli able to keep that ball off the backstop.
Thomas leads. 1-2 pitch. Runner goes. And it hits Fowler. 2 on and 2 out. Fourth time Fowler has been on base.
First baseman number 44.
3 for 3 and then hit by a pitch.
Curveball was going right in and wham, right on the knee. Like it was seeking out his knee, chasing it. Well, they do have a runner in scoring position.
Rizzo 0 for 2 with a walk.
Nice block by Cervelli. Turned out to be meaningless with the next pitch.
One ball, no strike pitch. Right to Mercer. Takes care of the inning. Nothing across. We'll go to the 6th. Cubs 6, Pirates 2. The Pirates, we head to the 6th inning. And you can make your next group outing the event of the year at PNC Park. Put together a group of 15 or more and receive special discounts. Ask how you can receive one-of-a-kind experiences like access to the field. Find out more by going to pirates.com/groups or call 1-800-BUY-BUCKS. Buckos games are more fun in bunches. Stay warm. A little body heat tonight. Temperature right around 40 degrees now. Brody Mercer leads off, taking a strike. Where do you look around here to find Pirates fans? And a ground ball to short. Castro throws on to first base to retire Jordy. Mercer's 0 for 3. One gone for the Buccos in the 6th.
Center fielder, Andrew Hatchett.
Wood's got it going tonight.
You know, for a guy who's a fly ball pitcher, he's getting an awful lot of ground ball outs. Well, he's got 2 line drive outs and 1 fly ball out. That was McCutchen in the first. And other than the strikeouts, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ground ball outs.
Wow, that is a bunch for him.
One ball, 1 strike to Andrew.
Normally, if the ball's put in play, only about a quarter of them are groundouts. I mean, over the course of a season, that's what he does. And obviously, he'll have occasional games like this. It's all just averages.
It's all averages. McCutchen has one of the 3 Pirate hits tonight. Needs 2 more for 1,000 in his career with 998 base hits. Be nice if he can knock that milestone out tonight. 2-2 pitch from Wood. That was clubbed down to short. Castro there. And he's got McCutchen.
McCutchen again really going hard down the line.
That's another ground ball out for Travis Wood.
You can tell even by the way he's jogging back to the dugout that looks like that knee is feeling pretty good. Thank goodness for that.
Corey Hart at 176. 1 home run. That came as a pinch hitter at PNC Park. And the first home stand. Inside, it's 1-1 to Hart. And Hart hits this one to the left field corner. And Corey will round first. He'll head to second with a 2-out stand-up double.
It'd be an easy double. They're trying to take away the gap from him. They were giving him that line. So.
That is his first double this season. And Starling Marte with a 2-run homer back in the Cubs series at PNC Park. Put that one in the Pirate bullpen over the Cub bullpen, and then tonight in the 4th inning driving in McCutchen. So 2 home runs off of Travis Wood.
If they could do it again, that would be just what the doctor ordered.
And he lifts it to left field. And Hart's going to get waved around. Now he'll be held up. And he's got to hustle back. And Bryant almost got him.
That was close. And they might want to look at that one. I think he was back safely, but he made it a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Bryant showing some quickness.
Well, the Cubs are looking at it right now. Joe Madden might want to challenge if they feel they got him.
They're taking their time. Madden is still standing there. Boy, they might have got him.
They might have. You can't really tell where the contact was made with that angle.
Well, I guess they're going to look at it.
So Joe Madden, who had 1 call overturned tonight.
Maybe see it right here. They might call him out.
I think he got him right there.
Right there, he's touching him, and I don't think. Oh, they just showed something up on the board, though. I wasn't looking what it was, but the fans all are thinking he's out. This is going to be a close one.
Boy, oh boy. And if he is out, and it appears from one of the angles that he is, that's a bad way to end an inning.
Now, the umpire that made the call, Lance Barrett, you can see where he's standing. He can't see Hart's back where he was tagged, so he's just kind of having to do his best to guess at it.
And the call is overturned. And Corey Hart makes the final out of the inning at third base. bit going there in the top of the 6th. As Marte and Hart had back-to-back 2-out hits, but that's Corey Hart here. He's getting the windmill from Rick Sofield, then puts the brakes on. He tries to get back and didn't realize that apparently Chris Bryant was as close as he was.
One of the things that I think when there's 2 outs, you're surprised to see the stop sign. And I don't think Hart looked up immediately, and so he got way past third before he could stop and go back.
Sofield reloading. Rick had a bag of sunflower seeds he was emptying.
He definitely had the stop sign up early enough, but I just don't think Hart was looking.
Two and one to Jorge Soler, right fielder. It's 2-2. That makes the first row of the second deck. Foul ground. Three and two. So Joe Madden twice tonight has used replay to his advantage, getting 2 calls overturned. Up on the helmet. Knocked him down. And that is ball 4. Lees walks the leadoff man.
Showing very good control with his last 2 fastballs. Bounced one in the dirt outside, and the next one's up at the dome.
Soler aboard.
Not good fastball command, though.
No. Go to first, and back is Soler. Chris Bryant 1 for 3 with an RBI. Hitting .350. Great start to his major league career. 1-0. Falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. He's picked up the win against the Cubs on Thursday afternoon at PNC Park. It was his first win since the 2008 season. He was with Baltimore. Strike call. Speaking of Baltimore, the Orioles and the White Sox postponed again today due to the civil unrest that's going on in that city. And they will play a game tomorrow at 2 o'clock. No fans will be allowed in. Be closed to the public. And they have a series coming up with the Tampa Bay Rays. They've relocated that back to St. Petersburg. And Baltimore will play that series as the home team down there. Three and 1 to Chris Bryant. Count full. 3-2.
The Cubs have seen a lot of pitchers tonight. A lot of long at bats, deep counts.
3-2 pitch. Runner goes. Ball 4. Ramos Lees has walked the first 2 men in the 6th.
Through 5+ innings, they've got to see well over 100 pitches already.
Well, Jeff Locke threw 86 pitches.
Lee's got about, what, 25? Something? Yeah, 25.
25.
Up on the screen.
Ray Serge will come out and visit with him. Down 4 runs and you walk the first 2 men of an inning. That's not good.
Well, especially the way he's been throwing his fastball. I mean, it is really all over the place. And that's got to be a little bit of a concern. The 2 fastballs to Soler. That when you see fastballs bouncing in the dirt, I mean that should never really happen. And not only did it bounce in the dirt, but it bounced in the dirt way outside. And then the next one almost clipped the bill of the helmet of Soler. So I mean that tells you right there. I mean there's 2 fastballs 6 feet apart, at least 6 feet more than that. So he's a little out of whack with his control right now, and that's I'm sure what that conversation was about. Now getting back to especially the fastball, locating it somewhere where you want to.
Starlin Castro looks at a strike.
That breaking ball and put that one in a perfect spot.
2 for 3 tonight. He reached on a Josh Harrison error in the 3rd.
Yeah, sometimes that can be the answer too. Some guys have a tendency to overthrow the fastball a little bit, trying to throw it so hard and get him to throw a couple breaking balls, and they back off and get back into the swing of things.
And that'll be an infield fly. Not much of a fly, but it was in the air, so called an infield fly. And Castro automatically out.
Way inside. Surprised that bat's still in one piece.
One down, Junior Lake at the plate. He's 2 for 3. RBI double in the 3rd. Ball 1 to Lake. Lake called up yesterday from AAA.
Good name for a Cub.
Lake. Right next to one.
Definitely the dominant feature.
It's a big lake. Nothing junior about the lake that is a few blocks away.
You know how long it takes a drop of water to get from one of these lakes to the Gulf of Mexico? Or no, not the St. Lawrence Seaway.
You know, we had this discussion, I think, 3 seasons ago. I remember this. How long? Lefty Zach Roskup, a rookie, warming up.
I forgot to write it down.
One ball and 1 strike. I can't believe you forgot to write it down. You write everything down. How did you forget to write that down?
It's not in my file. Do I look cold?
Yes. It's chilly here. And it's dark. Infrared goggles on, so I could see. The night goggles.
It's a good looking cold weather hat. I like that. I'd like to see Blas in one of those.
Could look good.
Of course, black with a gold P on it.
You wear that, you should be out hunting wabbit.
Everybody bundled up tonight.
Junior Lake with a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Rodimus Lees from the stretch. There's a strike. A breaking ball in there. And the count is even 2-2.
Kind of looks like he's got better command of the breaking pitch than he does the fastball. Look at that, another fastball, and everything Cervelli could do to keep that one off the backstop.
Full count now.
You got to just be trying to overthrow the fastball so hard. Cervelli able to just get that glove out there in time. Ball missed the plate by 1.5 feet.
Well, the payoff pitch coming to Junior Lake. And he reaches for this one. Corey Hart grabs it for the out. Nice play by Hart.
Yeah, that was a breaking ball. I think he's having to throw the breaking ball when he needs a strike. Oh, good job by Hart. Excellent. I don't know if that would have been fair or not, but if it would have landed fair, that would have been all kinds of problems.
So Hart with a good defensive play. 2 men out. 2 on, and the batter is Wellington Castillo. He has a hit in 3 plate appearances. He's 1 for 2. Almost hit it.
That fastball is just all over the place. He's painting with the breaking ball, but the fastball really is it's a challenge for Cervelli right now.
One-0 pitch from Lees. Cervelli is getting a workout back there.
That time it was a breaking ball. He was able to get out there quickly and smother it. Got his knees on the ground. He's supposed to block those breaking balls, but he had no chance. The only thing he could do was try and catch it.
2-1. Not a good thing he did. Jeff Locke tonight, 3 2/3. Antonio Bastardo, a third of an inning. Adams Lees in his second inning of work. The 2-1 pitch now to Wellington Castillo. Swung on and popped up. Shallow right. Rodriguez under it. And Rodimus Lees survives the leadoff walks. End of the 7th. It's a 6-2 ball game in Chicago.
But Francisco Cervelli kind enough to answer some questions, including, what is your favorite thing about Pittsburgh so far?
The opening day was impressive. The noise. I think the fans, they got hope now. You know, they enjoy watching us play, and the expectations are so high. So when they come there, they're just screaming the loudest they can.
Yeah, wait till he has his first experience at PNC Park, jammed late in the season in a playoff push, and hopefully a clinch on home field for the first time in a couple seasons. And he'll really enjoy Pittsburgh, right, Tim and Bob?
Yeah, he will, no question. He's going to enjoy it anyway. He already does. And as the season goes on, he'll learn to enjoy it more and more and more. Neil Walker, 0 for 2, a couple of groundouts to second. 10-game hitting streak on the line tonight.
Get a knock.
He has hit Travis Wood pretty well in the past. 7 for 21 coming into the game, 7 for 23 now. 2-0 pitch. Foul back. Up on the roof. Stung the hands a little bit. And the 2-1 now. O'Neill pops this one foul again. Count is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Garrett Cole pitch tomorrow in the finale. Tomorrow night opposite Kyle Hendricks. Cole is 3-0. And has pitched very, very well.
Cramped, historic dugouts. No room down there.
2-2 pitch. And Walker swings and strikes out. 1 down to the 7th.
I can remember how neat it was the first time I was at this ballpark and got to walk into that dugout, and you just think about all the history, all the players, the famous names that have sat right there. It's 1914? Isn't that when they built this place?
That's when they started playing here, 1914.
Through what was then the catacombs, coming down from the clubhouse. Just a really exciting feeling for a young rookie player.
0-1 to Cervelli. 1 ball, 1 strike. In 1914, this was Weigman Park. Is that what it was? They play the Chicago Baseball Club. They were not known as the Cubs until 1907. And their name before that, ironically, was the Chicago White Stockings. They were the White Stockings until 1907. And they changed their name to the Cubs. And a strike called, and Cervelli's down on strikes. Strikeout number 8 for Travis Wood.
These two teams are played almost 2,500 games against each other. Two organizations. That's a lot of baseball played against just two organizations duking it out. Pittsburgh, I think, has the edge last time I looked. Yep. The Pirates or Alleghenies, 1,250 wins and 1,175 losses against the Cubbies or the White Stockings, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it would have been the White Stockings. It would have been the Alleghenies and White Stockings playing against each other, because that the records that you just gave go all the way back to 1887. First year the Pirates were in operation. 1-2 to Rodriguez. Sean is 1 for 2. Here's the 1-2 now. 2 down. And he strikes out the side. 1, 2, 3 go the Bucks. It is stretch time in Chicago. Well, the NFL draft is in town this week. Rich Eisen, Melissa Stark, Steve Mariucci singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And other celebrities here. Eric Stonestreet from Modern Family. And a couple of big football names there. Kurt Warner, Michael Irvin. He threw out the first pitch tonight. And from the Chicago Blackhawks, Patrick Sharp is here. Showed him on the new big screen earlier, and he got a great round of applause. There's the number 14 behind home plate for the Backs. Chris Coghlan pinch hitting for the Cubs in the bottom of the 7th. First ball swing, drops it into right center. And a base hit. So Coghlan hitting for the pitcher, Travis Wood. And the leadoff man is aboard again. Too much of that in this series allowed by the Pirates. Leadoff man getting aboard.
And that's really all, something you want to really bear down on, that first hitter. You can really do yourself a big favor if you can get that guy out most of the time. It's hard to build any kind of an inning when you're starting with nobody on and already one out on the board. It's why everybody loves to get that number 8 guy out to end the inning, so you can have a pitcher leading off.
Ball 1 to Addison Russell. Good night for Travis Wood. He and Chris Bosio, pitching coach.
Fine job. Got the ground balls.
7 innings. 2 earned runs. Give up the home run to Marte with McCutchen aboard in the 4th inning.
That beard and everything looks like you should be out somewhere cutting wood. Put a nice flannel shirt on. Give him a chainsaw.
Talking to Mike Borzello, catching coach. Interesting story about Borzello. He was an extra in a movie, that baseball movie For the Love of the Game. Kevin Costner, Kelly Preston. Right there, Mike was the stand-in for the catcher. John C. Reilly played the catcher in the movie, and he's not very athletic, but so Mike filled in on the catching stuff. It made John C. Reilly look good.
A lot of coaches over there. Chicago side. 10 coaches.
10 of them.
It's a bunch.
Yep, they have a quality assurance coach. Find out what that is later.
Henry Blanco. Yeah. He's the quality assurance coach.
Runner goes, throw down, and no tag made. That is the 5th stolen base tonight for the Cubs. Run, and run some more.
Yeah, throw a little offline. Wasn't all that great of a jump. And you could see how quickly the ball hit Walker's glove. But it was so far off the bag, there's no chance to put a tag down. Plenty of speed, but not the accuracy needed.
3-2 pitch to Addison Russell. Fouls it back. Last time the Pirates allowed 5 steals in a game, 28th of June of last season, against the Mets. In defense of Cervelli and Jeff Lott, 2 double steals tonight. And a walk. Let's send you back to Pittsburgh. Rob King is in our Root Sports studio with this game break. Well, that is a tough break for Archie Bradley. You'd hate to see that. He was really a bright spot for the Diamondbacks so far this year. Dexter Fowler has reached base in 7 straight plate appearances. He's 3 for 3 tonight. And was hit by a pitch his last time up in the 5th. Coughlin at second base, Russell at first. Nobody out. 1-0 pitch from Rodimus Lees. And a comebacker. And Lees will go to second for 1. That's all they'll get. And that'll leave runners at the corners. Fowler aboard on a fielder's choice. Time for a little social media. Point Park tweet. Please wish Stella Yarkowski of Indiana County a happy 93rd birthday. She is a lifelong Pirate fan. Well, happy birthday, Stella.
Not happy on the field so far. Still some baseball to be played. Double play would help out here.
Ball 1 to Rizzo.
Kind of thought that was going to be a double play ball hit back to the mound. Didn't it seem kind of slow to develop?
It did. It did.
You know, Fowler does run fast though, but it turned out there wasn't even an opportunity for a double play.
And Cervelli with a block.
Yeah, he has been challenged.
He's getting a workout back there.
Yep.
Lees has made him work. Two 2-0 the count to Rizzo. Rizzo without a hit tonight, 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. And the pitch. Bouncer down to Gung. He comes to the plate, and out at the plate is Coughlin. Fielder's choice for Rizzo, 5-2, the putout of Coughlin. Second time the Pirates have had a play like this in the game.
Well, if he throws a second, Pirates are in the dugout. I'll just say that. He had the ball in his glove. Rizzo went 2 steps out of the box. Well, we'll see how it works out.
2 men out, and the batter is Soler. Fowler at second base. Rizzo over at first. Strike one to Soler. Lees delivers. It's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cubs have had a ton of traffic on the bases tonight.
Lee's really getting a workout coming out of the bullpen tonight.
52 pitches and counting.
He's halfway to a starter's allotment of 100.
He was due to bat second in the 8th inning, so I figure this might be it for him this inning. Unless the Pirates have other plans.
I wonder what that discussion was about out the mound. He's still a real nice fastball. Just off the plate inside that he got called for a strike.
Swing and a miss, and down on strikes goes Soler.
A little fist pump by Lees.
No runs for the Cubs. We go to the 8th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Taking a look at our Nissan Road Ahead tomorrow night, same time, Garrett Cole will oppose Kyle Hendricks in a battle of right-handers. Cole 3-0, 219 the earned run average. Hendricks no decisions and an ERA of 5 3/4. So Cole and Hendricks tomorrow night right here on Root Sports. Jung Ho Gung leads off. A swing and a miss. He had an at-bat in the 5th inning and he struck out. Garrett Cole hoping that he can shut down the Cubs tomorrow night. 0-1. Now it's 0-2.
Have you seen a weather report yet? Have you looked ahead? Is it going to be cool again tomorrow?
Well, if you give me a second,
more important,
find it.
Which way will the breeze be? Although tonight, the wind is meaningless.
It's not a factor in this game.
Kind of blowing straight down right now.
Yeah. The wind is blowing straight down, he says.
Well, that's what the flags are telling me.
I guess you're right. There's the proof.
Could be gravity. I think it's the wind.
Tomorrow, high of 68.
Oh, okay.
Low 45. It'll be cool. And no precipitation. 0% chance.
What about winds?
Winds are light and variable.
They're going to be out of the west.
Two and two. That's up high. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And we look in the on-deck circle. There is Gregory Polanco. He sat out last night's game with tightness in his left groin. Available tonight as a pinch hitter. Payoff pitch from Zach Roscoe. It's fouled off back to the screen.
Look out, everybody.
Well, second night in a row, Cubs starter went deep into the ballgame and didn't walk anybody. Jason Hamill went 8 innings last night, no walks. He has 1 walk on the season. And tonight, Travis Wood, no walks. Grounder is short. And Castro takes care of Jung Ho Gun.
I'm not really seeing us chase a whole ton of balls out to the strike zone either. As far as an explanation for the no walks.
Ladies and gentlemen, pitch hitting for the Pirates, number 25. Gregory Polanco.
Watch the bat of Jung Ho here. He got himself right in the helmet.
Good thing he had that helmet on. Well, that's a backswing there.
Well, you don't see that every day. And Gregory Polanco will take ball 1. Polanco hitting .288, 1 home run, 7 runs batted in. On 1. You said you had experience with the similar type of pain and discomfort that he was feeling, huh?
No, not the kind he was feeling, because I didn't play for about 2 weeks.
Yours was a little worse.
Yeah.
Strike called. 1 and 2.
Maybe 3 weeks. I use groin blows to control my my innings pitched throughout the year.
Polanco down on strikes.
Now, that was a case of going after a pretty bad pitch. But we haven't seen a lot of that tonight, to be honest with you. Just chasing balls well out of the strike zone. Wood was just around the edges, throwing strikes, and not really giving you anything great to hit. Tough to center up, hit hard somewhere. And there were also been some atom balls tonight.
Jordy Mercer, he's 0 for 3. Strike 1 call.
But that happens every day. You tend to notice them more when you're not getting a lot of offense.
Right. So here is the 0-1 pitch. And Mercer pulls it foul. It's 0-2. Top of the 8th inning, a 6-2 Chicago lead. Jordan has to get a new bat. Broke the last one. And Jared Hughes up on the hill. Warming up.
He's getting ready, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Drop and give me a 50.
You know, he'd probably do it and he'd say, yes, sir.
Oh, in a second he would do it. And he would say, yes, sir.
There's the pitch outside. 1-2 to Jordy.
Roger Clemens did that to us. I told you that story, the spring training. The spring training game. He was going through us so easily that in between innings, instead of going and sitting in the dugout, he would go down the sidelines a little ways and do calisthenics. And then go out and pitch. Go down, do more exercise, go out and pitch.
Well, Jared's preparing.
Yeah, we just weren't much of a challenge for him, so he had to exercise in between innings.
The only way he could break a sweat was between innings.
Yeah. That was spring training. You see odd things like that occasionally.
3-2 pitch to Jordy. And he hits it on the ground to third, backhanded by Bryant. Fires across and just got it. Close play at first.
He's got a cannon.
And Mercer is out. And the Pirates go in order. Zach Roskick sits him down 1-2-3. $20,000 through the gates, and you'll receive a Clint Hurdle gnome presented by Trib Total Media. For tickets, go to pirates.com. 6-2 here. Cubs with the lead over the Pirates in Game 2 of this 3-game series. We look at the UPMC scoreboard. Jared Hughes is on to face Chris Bryant. First ball swinging. Bryant skies it to center. McCutchen drifting over to right center field. And with the wind blowing straight down, the ball went into McCutchen's glove.
Yeah. See the wind grab it and send it straight down?
Took it right down.
Yeah. Touch, he's smiling about it. The wind took it right to him. Usually Hughes doesn't have to worry too much about the wind blowing straight down because he's putting the ball on the ground all the time. And that's how he's put those nice numbers together. You know, one thing that's a little bit surprising, he's got more strikeouts than he has innings pitched.
Yeah, that's probably a new thing for him.
He does a lot of pitching to contact, or at least that's what he's trying to do all the time. When he gets strikeouts, it's not by design. He's not going out there looking to strike people out. I don't think he ever throws a pitch that he doesn't want to put in play. He wants the ground ball. That's great attitude.
He came into Sunday's game in Arizona, 2 men on base and 1 out, and got Aaron Hill to ground into a double play on just the second pitch he threw. Taps this one toward third. Charging is gone. Throws. Safe at first is Castro. A base hit for Castro.
Replay that one.
Number 21.
Got definitely on the base. The ball was still in flight.
Allegheny Health Network Supermo giving us the look right there. That was close, but
actually that was closer than the one they did replay.
Yeah, but he was safe.
Yeah, he definitely was.
3 hits tonight for Castro. He's trying to steal second, and he is gunned down.
Nice little pick and tag by Walker.
And any close play, Joe Maddon comes up the steps. We saw this briefly when he was managing Tampa Bay last year.
The umpires don't have to leave the dugout, but he's doing it.
You mean the manager? Yeah.
Yeah, the manager. Ooh, I think he's going to be safe.
Oh, wow.
I said nice pick and tag, but that view, it looked like the tag was late.
Well, they're going to challenge. This will be the 3rd time Joe Maddon has gone to the videotape. And he has won his first 2 challenges here tonight.
You see, the ball was there in plenty of time, but the tag is right there up high, and it looks like the hand might already be on the bag. Still could go either way, though. The fans here in Chicago, they're loving this new flat screen they have out there. It is so big that they really have a great view, and you can hear their reactions. Out, you think? That time I've changed my mind. That time I think he's out.
It's close. I mean, this is one where it could go either way. I mean, usually we can tell, but
well, I thought I could. The first view the first time I saw it, I thought, okay, the tag wasn't there. He got his hand in, but that last one we looked at, I think I did see a tag, and he is out.
So the call will stand. There wasn't enough to overturn it. Not clear and convincing evidence to overturn it.
Boy, it's just hard to tell.
Lake, hard to tell, but he's out anyway. And Junior Lake takes a strike. 2 out for the Cubs in the bottom of the 8th.
You know, as much as you try with all the cameras, there's still going to be plays where you just won't be able to know for sure. And then you just go old school. Go with what the umpire says and be done with it.
He was ahead of Lake 1-2. Foul ball over the first base dugout. Jason Mott getting loose for the Cubs. Former Cardinal. 1-2 pitch. Struck him out. No runs, a hit. That's it for the Cubs in the 8th. Last wraps for the Pirates as we head to the 9th inning. Bucks trail by 4 runs. 6:30 with Pirates pregame presented by WB Mason on Root Sports. Along with Bob Walker, I'm Tim Neverett. 6 runs on 12 hits for Chicago. 2-5-2 the line for the Pirates. And now the Bucks will face right-hander Jason Mott here in the top of the 9th inning. McCutchen, Hart, and Marte, the scheduled hitters.
One time, hard-throwing power guy could get it up there close to 100 miles an hour. He has kind of changed his style of pitching a little bit now. So he still has a decent fastball, but he's not really trying to overpower anybody. Trying to pitch more, hit spots with it, moving around.
McCutchen hits this one well to center field. Fowler going back. Fowler backpedaling and making the catch. And McCutchen was trying to greet the new Cubs reliever with a home run, but just missed it. And he was 1 for 4.
Watch Mott's reaction here. He didn't want to look. Still's not sure. That wind went blowing straight down. He might have had a chance.
That's right. Well,
in the summertime, that's a home run as it warms up.
And Corey Hart at the plate with 1 out here in the 9th. And Hart skies this one foul out of play down the right field side.
Still pretty good velocity. The last pitch at 94. When Mott was converted from a catcher, the first couple of times we saw him, he'd throw the ball up there 97, 98.
And Hart on the ground to the right side. Rizzo has it. Tossed to Mott covering. 2 down.
You can tell he's a converted catcher, though. He quickly gets that ball out of his glove and tucks it up behind his ear.
Throws from his ear.
It's like he's kind of trying to, with that delivery, maybe going for a little bit of movement over that velocity. Going to come off the side of the ball, get a little tail on it.
Pirates down to their final out here. Marte 2 for 3. 2-run homer. Responsible for both Pirate runs. Homered in the 4th. 1-0 pitch from Mott. 1-1.
Pretty good pitch to hit that time. That was a slider. It didn't do anything. It stayed right in the middle of the plate.
He's outside, checked his swing. They want an appeal. 2 balls and a strike to Starling Marte.
Everybody standing here at Wrigley, thinking this one is about over.
Marte check swing foul.
Well, getting ready to sing their song.
Yeah. That's perhaps my least favorite song.
I don't think we can get away with not hearing it tonight. It's going to be tough down to the last strike.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Marte. And Mott's pitch. Ball 3.
Didn't that look right down the middle?
It did.
This ball's right down the middle.
It did look down the middle, didn't it? Oh,
that's right down the middle.
That's strike 3, and he took it right out of the zone. Wow. And the 3-2. Strike 3. Pirates lose their second game in a row to the Cubs. A 6-2 final. The offense not doing a lot tonight.
Well, that really is kind of the simple explanation right now is we got in this cold weather and the bats went immediately cold. Not doing anything, and I guess, is it the Cubs pitching or is it the Pirates bats? What do you blame? Not real sure, but they got to figure it out. They got 24 hours.
Well, they'll try to salvage the game tomorrow.
21 hours.
21 hours. That's right. So Joe Madden's Cubs beat the Pirates for the second straight night. They are 12-7. The Pirates 11-10. 6-2 the final. Let's go back to Pittsburgh, where Rob King and Kent DeCulver are standing by.